All right, welcome back to Black Lodge Trivia Night. This is Art, and we are continuing our Lord of the Rings Online run through the main story. If you remember last time, we completed Chapter 1 of the Black Book of Mordor, which, if you remember, is the next stage of the official story quest after completing the book quests like that involve the tale from the Lord of the Rings. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue with that, see how far we get. So if you remember, like, we picked up a corrupted, well, we didn't pick it up. It was taken by a Yorzian from one of the places here in Mordor. It's got sort of the stink of Mordor on it. And Mithrandir said, hey, you should go to Numinas to check that out. And of course, Numinas is back in Evendim, an old favorite. I was saying at the end of last time how much I enjoy the need to get back to places of yore. I thought there was a horse or something that could take us somewhere. Okay, to the field of Cormallen after the strike. I'm kind of curious what this is. So I'm gonna take it, see where it goes. See if there is a stable. There's not. Okay. Saw another player running around over there. Not quite sure where the nearest... I don't know if there's a stable nearby. Trying to see what's going on. They are a 105 brawler, but it looks like they don't have any textures as they're running around. Not quite sure what's going on there, but oh, there we go. Textures popped in. All good. So where are we going? We're going to go back to the Black Gate, see if we can... basically, I can Mithril coin it. I don't feel good about that. Guess I could go straight north and there's a stable there. Let's do that. That's probably closer than going back through the Black Gate. So let's do that. Let's head north. And again, I could, but you know, I don't know what I want to do. I want to see the world a little bit is basically what I want to do. Oh, okay, that answers that question. Does that damage you to run through the sludge? The answer is yes. I don't think I did earlier, but it was something I confess that entered my mind. Whether or not I said it at the time, I'm not sure. It had that 3 Mile Island Mountain Dew healthy glow to it that makes you think, I should definitely not swim in that. As I get stuck on the gate here. So let's see, are we getting close? Basically, it's right across this bridge. Oh, interesting. I never unlocked this stable master. I don't know if I've...
These are troublesome times indeed.
Let's go to Osgiliath. Nice. Again, if, you know, going back a few sessions towards the end of the book quest, Osgiliath was like a genuinely fall down, like, magical session before I went back to Minas Tirith and was like, nah. But the things I was doing,
How may I help you,
the side quests I was doing in Osgiliath before the Battle of Minas Tirith, Pelennor Fields, really good, and I probably should have spent more time there. And I did not. So we're going to now head to Bree. Again, it's not that much different than just spending a Mithril coin, but the Mithril coin, it's definitely not pay to win, but it feels like it's got a little bit of that, you know, like we're just paying for the convenience kind of vibe, where doing this is mechanics as intended. Doesn't feel quite so dirty. So let's see what we got going on here. Oh, you know what I want to do while I'm here? Oh, that is like, Little impromptu concert. I want to go to storage. Whatever it's called. Supplier, no. Housing, no. Housing, not housing. It's wherever they store the vault, whatever that's called. Yeah, I thought it was down here. Anyway, the whole reason I wanted to do that is because I was looking at my cosmetics, and some crafting going on. Very nice. I was looking at my cosmetics, and I used to have a different hat on, and I don't know where the hat went. It was a helmet that went with the set. No idea where it is. And I'm wondering if maybe I stored it. It's not that important. But I was just curious if I was here anyway. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of lost the thread on where things are in Bree, and that's okay. Maybe there's something in the Numinos that I can... But I thought it was around here. Or maybe things have been rearranged and I have no idea. Anyway, let's head back over here. Let's see where we can get to from this gate. Probably Southbury was the place to try if I was gonna swift travel to Numinos or Evendim, even though it's a little closer, but ooh, level 10. Again, I know logically it's most likely an alt. But the idea that it's somebody just getting started for the first time. Go to Tinador. Lost Farad is the town. Let's go to Tinador. So what I'm nervous I did is, I'm nervous that I stored my cosmetic outfit. And because I don't know how to play the game after 55,000 hours, I sort of see it listed in my cosmetic. I can show you in a sec. I was sort of looking at it before I hit record, but I'll just show you real quick. So somehow, and you know, maybe one of the 4 people that watch this understand what I'm doing wrong, but you know, cosmetic outfits, I'm wearing outfit 1, which should be this plus the Helm of the Three Peaks. It says this item is cosmetically equipped. But for some reason I can't see it. And I don't know why. And I don't know why I've got all these head slots. And I don't know... If I say show helmet, it doesn't seem to do anything. So I'm just not quite sure what's going on. So it used to be there and I don't know what I did. So we'll have to figure that out. Okay. The other thing we need to do, we need to get to... Man, this is bringing me back. This is back when you're in the sweet spot, right in the magic. This is a great area. Yeah. Anyway. It's before... Yeah, levels 1 through 50. Again, I've said it a million times. There's some real magic there. It's before... it's before you sort of have to walk almost lockstep with the actual quest from the plot of the stories, the books. It's still able to sort of, you know, glance against it in interesting ways. It's not bogged down with the systems that start to get introduced with Moria, which was the first expansion. Yeah, it's good stuff. And again, it's nice to get back here. Good to see you again, my friend. The life of a warden is never uneventful, for there are always good folk that need defending. How many minutes of celebration do we have before Aragorn began to worry that the folk of his kingdom were still not secure from the threat? 2? 3? Tesharon laughs. Ours is a life of service, and I would have it no other way. I never had the patience for tending crops or raising animals, but I could stand in the spare line opposed to evil for days without complaint. But what brings you hither? You show the corrupted badge to Tesharon, and he studies it closely. I've seen metal similar to this in the old city. They were worn by soldiers of Elendil, and served as identification for his guards, but I cannot say that I have seen one exactly like this, for there are some curious markings beneath the depression here. One unfamiliar with the workings of the soldiery could easily have missed it. Several of my fellow rangers are on patrol throughout the city. Bring it to Lineth, Carastyr, and Gweneil in Enumenos, and see if the Steadfast Sisters have any badges identical to this. Again, seeing like these guys hold up on the front line is almost quaint, you know, now that we're just stomping around Mordor. What are these roving quests? Like, I don't actually care. I just, Oh, interesting. Okay. In your absence, new threats have come to Evendim. Brangil, a ranger in Tenedir, seeks you the assistant. Tenedir is where we just were, right? You know, I'm going to accept it just because I'm kind of curious. Clearly, we are overleveled for it. But I'm curious just to see what they're doing. Because like I was saying in the end of the last session, I like the idea of having reasons to go back. What have you brought to the city? I sense its evil even before you approached. You show the corrupted badge to Lineth, and she scowls. This is the type of metal that was worn by defenders of this city at the height of its glory, but it has become encircled by darkness. That is a cruel hurt, but it is a common one in these days, where fell forces take things of beauty and nobility and bring them low. That it happens frequently makes it no less of an insult to me. If we could read these symbols, we might know where the guards wearing this badge were stationed, but I'm unable to make sense of them. Perhaps one of my sisters could tell you more? We pride ourselves on our patience, but that patience does not always extend to remaining in each other's company. You will find Carastyr and Gweneil elsewhere, but still within the city. Alright. What these guys got? They've got 800 morale. Blanc. Blanc. What is that? You've brought evil here, as if the city has not seen enough darkness in recent months. Explain yourself. Is that some artifact of shadow? scions of Angmar still hope to bring that evil kingdom once more to prominence, and we will stand against them. You show the corrupted badge to Karastir, and she shakes her head. I've never seen one exactly like this. My advice is for you to destroy it. This might once have been an heirloom of a beautiful kingdom, a kingdom I am sworn to honor and cherish, but now it has fallen to evil, and it's a reminder of our failures. Okay. Beasts are drawn by the pull of the badge is evil. Well fought. I would expect no less of a warden. Alright, one more sister to speak to, and then we'll see what comes next. We are well met. What brings you to the City of Kings? You show Gwenil the corrupted badge, and she crinkles her nose as if smelling a foul odor. This badge is held in the grip of a powerful evil, but I cannot recognize that it was once... but I can recognize that it was once worn proudly by defenders of the High King in this very city. Did you show it to my sisters? I can imagine their responses. Mine, however, may be more practical bent. I cannot tell you where it might have been worn, but Numenos has long had a problem with looters. If the defenders of the city cannot identify these markings, perhaps the tomb robber can tell you where he had looted badges with similar markings. They have a camp on Rantost, an island in Lake Evendim. May tell you what we cannot. Yeah, so I think that's one of the islands in the middle of the lake. The lake, I thought, well, this is not a map of Evendim. I thought it was, oh, it's up here. I was going to say I thought it was one of these two, but it's clearly up there. Okay. All right. I'm sure I said this. I know I said this when we were here. Like, yeah, when I was running a One Ring second edition, I was having the adventure sort of skirt in the remains here of the city. It was I had a lot of fun. I don't know if the players did, but I was really enjoying it. I feel like I'm leaving the city. Am I? Maybe not. So what let's fast travel, or let's do whatever travel, stable travel, back to
How can I be of service?
Tinadur.
Might I take a moment of your time?
Okay, so it's repeatable quests, which I'm never going to do. To earn yet another currency that I don't care about. man. I don't know what I would do if somebody asked me to design an MMO. Do I... I'd like to believe that I would just be like, you know what, like, this is going to be what it is. I'm not going to... You know, I'm not going to stuff it full of 55,000 currencies and reputation. Like, I'm just going to make it a fun experience. But at the same time, like, you know, how does that stay in business? Like, at some point, no, everybody's just going to leave the game. But I feel like you provide them more story and more quests. And then maybe, man, I don't know, like, do you keep the systems a little simpler? Just, more straightforward. Like, you know, you got the, you know, like, you know, something that's come up, I think I was wondering in it, and I think it definitely is a thing online. Like, when I'm wearing the armor with light in Mordor, like, there was already a system with the, you know, the corruption and the morale. Like, why did they... Why did they sort of double that up? And, you know, I probably would have skipped Legendary. I just don't know. Yeah, I imagine I would design a game that just wouldn't last. But I would try and keep it a little simpler. Try and keep it, I don't know, consistent. I don't know what word I would want to use. You know, sometimes, you know, when I listen to like video game podcasts, like one of the ones I listen to is, you know, the Jeff Gerstmann Show. I listen to Remap. But it's something I've definitely heard the host Jeff Gerstmann say on the Jeff Gerstmann Show is like, you know, he gets back into Destiny or Destiny 2 or whatever it is. He's like, oh, hell, I'm just going to fire this up and see how it goes. I feel like I can have probably, well, maybe not. I was going to say, could I have stayed on land? And, you know, he's like, yeah, you know, and I get this itch to get curious about a, you know, sort of a live service game that I haven't been to in a while. And I get there and everything's reset and I don't know what the fuck's going on. And everything's been reintroduced as different this and different that. And I don't know what any of the systems are or the currencies and why I have like no levels and how to spend my points. And I think that's sort of what I'm getting at, right? Like I have a level 56, 57 burglar. That's not a fair comparison. I was going to say like, there's a part of me that would almost rather start over with the burglar than pick up the level 56 burglar. But that's a little different just because I don't remember to play it. That's not necessarily because of legendary items and things like that. But yeah, it's just like I don't know what the right answer is, but I feel like I would hope more areas and more quests and story and raids or whatever it is you like, you know. Because let's face it, like I haven't picked up, as far as I know, I don't think I've picked up new gambits or new powers or anything like that, and I can't remember how long. So it's not like I've gotten, you know, new powers and stuff that I'm trying to learn. Level 36.
What is this world coming to?
What do you want? You here to pinch me some of my loot? Aye or nay, and answer quickly or I'll stick you with my best knife and bury you in the surf shallow-like. Grimacing, you show a calm fettering the corrupted badge and ask him to pay special attention to the markings, and if he's seen any others of its type. The tomb robber gets a crafty look in his eyes. Aye, I've seen badges like this one. Plenty of them. All around the bridge those dirty ruffians call Ariant. Are you saying these are worth something? I could give this one back to you, it's true, and let you make a tidy profit. That's one option. Aye. Here we go. Or maybe I'll kill you and take it myself, he says as I just obliterate You take it back. Okay, now we're headed back to Innuminas.
Stay a moment.
You know what? It's called Everswim for a reason. Let's do it. So yeah, we'll swim to Tinador. And then swift travel. So the question is, like, say like in this hypothetical, I'm designing Lord of the Rings Online. And I don't know, am I only thinking in terms of the Shadow of Angmar? Is it just too big to think about anything beyond that? In my head, you'd like to believe that you're optimistic and there's all of Middle-earth, and that had to be on the table somehow. So when you're designing Angmar, are you thinking about the systems that will come later as you get deeper into the evil and the lore and the world and so on and so forth? Because, you know, and I feel bad saying this, you know, a phrase I've used for some of the systems is they feel sort of bolted on, or, you know, bubblegum together, whatever phrase you want to use. So they don't seem cohesive, and I don't know how you would keep them cohesive over 19 years and 160 levels, and but I do feel like I don't feel like there's much point in saying, okay, you've got that collection, now let's swap it out for the next thing that you're going to have to work. I don't necessarily, like, I feel like for me personally, maybe this is not ubiquitous enough to be useful. The levels in the story, and, you know, like making the numbers go up, it's mostly the story. The other stuff is just, sure, hey, that's great. And you get games like the original Guild Wars, maybe? The original Guild Wars, you only had like you only had 8 slots for powers, and you could sort of mix and match a little bit, but it wasn't like you were, you know, it felt like a pretty limited power curve. And still people love that game. I had a good time with that game, although I haven't messed with the remaster that's come out. Guild Wars 2. One I always hear good stuff about, and I'm just kind of curious, like, again, the Warden trainers, I don't know what the point is.
What do you need?
I mean, but that's the trick. Like, I don't know what the point is. Like, you know, like, whatever the design was, it just sort of ripped all this out and made it not needed. Alright, the Hat of Shame. The fashion maven has deemed you the worst dressed of all Middle-earth. I get it. Kulang. We had some good times, some adventures. But yeah, I mean, so like the Warden trainers, at some point, like, I'm not getting more skills, so there's nothing really to train. But I don't know if I actually had to train it
What can I do for you?
anyway. If that makes any sense. Like, I don't remember having to... I don't remember buying the Gambit upgrades and things like that. You know, they just sort of gave them to you. That's what I thought I remember. Maybe I'm wrong. But then to just be a thing like, you know, collect 30 of these during that, just like fucking, okay, I just don't care. And I don't know how you keep them relevant. Do you keep introducing Gambits, but then you're going to be introducing them to infinity, and then that, you know, like, because again, at some point you figure, or at some point you just say like the level cap's 160, we're done. Again, like, I don't know, like, what I would trade, like what I would design to keep it tight and consistent, and then realize I'm shooting the game in the foot. Yeah, you learn from the Steadfast Sisters that badges of this type are worn near the bridge of Ariant. That's very near. You tell Tesharon that you obtained the information not from the Dunedain, but from a brigand named Colm Fettering, who sought to kill you when he learned the badge might be valuable. That sadness is all too common these days, my friend. Badge is old. It is true, but I cannot say it has much value to any but the Dunedain, or to scholars of history. What unhappy road led Colm Fettering to that end? Would he have turned aside? Sauron may be gone, but Colm Fettering was not guided by the hand of the Dark Lord, or by schemes hatched into the Dark Tower. He was a man only, guided by the difficulties of the poor and the desperate. I'm ready to go with you to the Bridge of Ariant. Let's see if we can remove the corruption that encircles the badge that was once worn there.
Your efforts to cleanse the evils from the corrupted badge have led you to the Bridge of Ariant, high above Lake Evendim, in the City of Kings.
You know, I was reading an article today. There's a guy in Massachusetts. I don't know if he's going to be, like, internet famous in about 5 minutes, but, you know, he was just saying, like, you know, Colm was suffering from just being poor and desperate. And this guy in Massachusetts was at, like, a town meeting where apparently, like, the town or the city had passed some resolutions about, hey, you know what we should do? We should open things up and build more housing so people can afford to live. And, you know, the town or people in the town, or I don't know who was doing it, were sort of pushing back and fighting against it. And this guy just shows up. He's like, hey, do you think we're just kind of being pricks? And I was like, yes. Yes, it's... I must protect my real estate values. You know, I really wish the best for other people. But again, that's the whole NIMBY thing. And apparently there's some, like, backlash to it that's becoming, like, yes in my backyard. And not that I'm, like, walking around, like, marching with signs and stuff like that, but I remember having a discussion with some people here in town, like, you know, like having, you know, drinks around a deck or something. And I remember I was like, yeah, no, I very much think we just build affordable housing. Like, but our real estate price, I'm like, yeah, no, that'll be fine. If it goes down, it goes down. If it, it'll be fine. You know, like, but the real estate price, yeah, the prices might go down, but the tax revenue might go up. So then we're not paying as much property. Like, you know, it'll balance out on some level, and it'll be fine. And then, like, damn, like, people can live in my town, you know, that might not be able to necessarily. Anyway, let us cross the bridge and remain vigilant. The forces of Angmar crept back into the city while we were in the Southlands, and they may seek to surprise us. Let's fight along Tesharon. The oath I swore bound me to go to Aragorn when he had need. Where are we? Okay. I do not regret the journey of the Great Company, but we did not leave enough defenders behind. Angmar, defeated once, sought to rise again. Forces from Carn Dûm hold Ost Elendil even now. Why have they not secured the bridge? Were we on the bridge at any point during the earlier adventures? Steady, a villain reveals himself. Have you come to swear allegiance to Angmar? I sense you bear a powerful artifact of evil. Prepare for disappointment, vile one. You want to take that a second time? I think we could do better. We are here to cleanse this badge of its corruption. But it will be our pleasure to rid this city of you. My servants, slay the trespassers. You just got boar rush, bitch. Saw two of them drop like that. There are only two of them. Each of us is worth 10 of your thralls, old Cranach. Might be Cranach. That was true of he who wore this badge as well. Elendil's wardens are all dead. Oh shit. Now you will go to join them. Careful, he attacks. No, he seeks to escape. You're not going anywhere. That's right. 3 sisters, then die. You got 5 wardens beating the shit out of you. You're not gonna last, sir. The badge of Ariant has been cleansed of Mordor's corruption. Glad to see you 3. I had a feeling we might be needed. The badge has been cleansed of its corruption. We have made proud whatever forgotten warden wore this badge in defense of his king. I've thought of something as well. Guards of the city in days of old wore these badges to signify their post, but I'm grateful that we have not maintained that tradition. Oh, sorry. But I'm grateful that we have not maintained that tradition. If the steadfast sisters were consigned to their own posts, they would not have come here to Ariant when they did, and old Cranach might have escaped to work further evil. Truthfully, there is no man save... Sorry, some of these names. There's no man save Elisar alone who might be able to command the sisters and have them heed it, but I am still glad that wardens and rangers go where they are needed, not where they are assigned to be. Where will you go next? To Rivendell to speak with Elrond? Give him my regards, for I must stay here and hold the line against Angmar. Right. Oh, shit, they're just going to put us right there. All right. Is that Elrond? Oh. Where are we? Was he always out here? I always thought he was inside. Ah, whatever. Or is this still an instance? It might still be an instance.
You will need the aid of a light that can pierce the darkness.
I know why you've come. If you are to journey beneath the shroud that covers Golgoroth, you will need the aid of a light that can pierce the darkness. Elrond takes the badge of Ariant from you and dips it into the font beside him. When the artifact emerges from the glowing circle, light drips soundlessly from it and pools like water in the basin. You're reminded that even though the promise of High King Elendil was submerged by darkness, it was restored by the defeat of Sauron and the return of a king to Gondor. You think of Colm fettering and hope that one day the hearts of men like him will shine as brightly, restored similarly from darkness. Elrond smiles at the sight of the glowing heirloom, and his voice contains both determination and joy when he speaks again. With the light of Ariandil, you will be able to walk where the shadows lie and overcome them. Arundel was a mariner, and he braved storm and roaring wave. He bore shining light out of the darkness. He voyaged through sadness and woe, cresting the waves of his sorrow and braving the winds of wrath to bring hope from afar. He travels still upon his errand, not upon the seas of the world, but those of heaven, the light of the Cimmeril on his brow showing the way. Elrond falls silent and gazes up at the sky, remembering distant memories. For all the Eldar, the light of the Arundel's star is counted most precious. It is a sign of hope for all who labor against the great enemy or a multitude of his servants. For me, it's something more. Arundel was a mariner, but he was also my sire. When I look to the stars, I remember much that has now gone beyond the circles of the world, and the joy of memory is tinged with the sorrow of loss. I give you this gift so you may bear the light of Arendelle with you, and it will be a shining lamp in the darkness. All right. So again, this is giving us, you know, for what little it's worth, this is giving us items that are going to allow us to raise the meter, which again is the thing, like, why didn't they just use the corruption and the morale? And I don't know, but yeah, that's well, it's clearly not a instance.
Hail, friend, and well met.
Like, I'm kind of curious what I'm just kind of curious, like, what, like, we're just looking at a level 160. Is it actual quest stuff? Is it, like, taking care of, like, grind business? Grind business, yeah. That dirty Lotro. You know, like, deeds or crafting or who knows what.
Greetings to you.
Again, I can just
What do you need?
use the token, but I want to... Minas Tirith is close. It's after the wedding. Oh, 150 burglar. Very impressive.
Gondor needs your aid.
I feel like there must be a way...
Gondor needs your aid.
Okay, there's Osgiliath, but I was hoping for, like... Faramir's Lookout was one, I think. Okay, well, let's get to Osgiliath to start.
These are troublesome times indeed.
Okay, so it's saying like Henneth Anui or something like that, Anduin.
How How may I help you, friend?
The pavilion's getting close. Camp of the Host seems like it's... Hopefully it's closer. These are all things I definitely remember are marching toward the Battle of the Black Gate, so I'm hoping that's heading in the right direction.
These are troublesome times indeed.
At the Slag Hills? Yeah. Oh, alright. I chose. Alright. While I'm running, I'm gonna just step back for one quick sec. All right, I'm back. Let's see see our progress. Oh, okay. I have an idea where we are. Now, I told myself last time that I was going to keep an eye out on how long each, how many decimal points are part of each. So I don't need to know how many objectives are per. Like, I don't want to get that granular, but I do want to have an idea. You know, like with last time, I was like at one, I got to the decimal point 0.5, 1.5, and I was like, I was thinking maybe I'll stop, but because I knew it only went up to 1.6, I was like, you know what, let me finish this out. So chapter 2, it looks like, oops. Looks like it goes to 2.5, so I'll keep that in mind. What are we at now? 2.2? I'm gonna have to do this in chunks and sort of stitch it together, but yeah, let's see how it goes. I feel like either I'm stopping at like 2.3 or I'm just doing the whole thing. I guess since I'm stitching it together, who cares? And I've got such a backlog in the queue that I could, like, there's no rush, so to speak.
Be wary, my friends. Evil spoils these grounds.
Nah. Honestly, like, you know, in the last session I was talking about how I swapped out my audio device, my Rodecaster Duo for Rodecaster Pro 2. I had some other equipment that I sold to, because again, I'm broke from a million different reasons, and I kind of half expected to spend, honestly, a huge chunk of time today. I didn't think I'd get to record anything today, even though it's a, you know, an ideal opportunity, you know, having time to myself while everybody else is busy with real life. But yeah, like the, you know, there were some issues at first. I was like, oh shit, here we go. There's still like some weird thing where it's not recognizing that the physical Ethernet plug for internet connection. I don't know why. Probably just some weird quirk. But, you know, the way Rodecaster does it is it saves things as a quote-unquote show. That's all your settings. And at first it didn't bring them in because I was having trouble updating the firmware. Once I got the firmware up to the latest, you know, I just brought the show in, tweaked a couple of things, and it was just exactly like my old. It was really, really convenient. It made it, you know, the setup ended up being pretty straightforward.
Will serve you well within Gorgoroth.
And so, like, I was able to finish recording, you know, chapter 1 earlier today, and then in the evening, you know, getting the first part of chapter 2 in at least, and then I'll probably do some more in the near future and stitch it all together. Now let's see. You've cleansed the corruption from the artifact that Yorzin brought from Durthang. I never doubted you'd be equal to the task. The light of Arendil will serve you well within Gorgoroth. I deem that few of the commanders of which are Yorzin spoke will be able to endure its presence, and none will enjoy it. It will bring them discomfort and aid you in piercing the shadow. It's time to press further into Mordor.
Enemies still hold the channel between Udun and Dor Amarth.
Adventurers of the Free People have set foot into Undun, but the fortress of Karak on Gren has hindered further passage. The eruption of Orudruin melted the doors of the Isenmouth, and they cannot be shut, but enemies still hold the channel between Undun and Dor Amarth. Some few have managed the passage, rangers, elves, and other utilizing the arts of stealth. I believe that you can advance into the Doomfold of Dor Amarth, pass through the guarded Isenmouth, and find Brungos on the other side. He will tell you somewhat of what he has done and what he has yet to accomplish. Okay. Nope, that's not what I want. Okay, so it looks like we're basically going through the whole thing and finally getting, yeah, through the gate there. I don't know if... Alright. But yeah, just to, like, peel back the curtain, like, it's, you know, it's 11:15 at night. You know, I recorded the resolution to chapter 1 this afternoon, and, made some dinner, watched a movie with family, and while that was happening, I crunched the file and just finished uploading it while I was cleaning up dishes and things like that. So it's another one in the books, and then I was like, you know what, I got a little free time. My daughter wanted to pursue some hobbies, and so I was like, yeah, let me get started on this recording. And what's gonna happen is, because my voice is starting to go, maybe you can hear it, but I can definitely feel it. When I say go, it's not like literally like I'm about to go completely hoarse, but I can tell it's like strained. And you know, I had a late night playing some co-op Gloomhaven, which continues to be amazing. And yeah, I might. Again, it's 11:15, but you know, on weekends for me, I tend to be a night owl. That's a slightly early night. I might go read in bed, and you might ask, oh yeah, like there's my. I'm really bad about reading novels. I want to get back to that. What do I do with this? Okay, so I've got a gleaming bauble of the valleys. I mean, I definitely need to, let's see, let me definitely equip that. So this is the light meter we're dealing with. So now you can see I've crossed over. So it looks like, hold on one second. So yeah, I needed to move my mic because I wanted, like, the text is really small, and so I just want to double check. So my Light of Arundel's status is now 16. The total shadow I'm dealing with is 10. So basically, I've got a +6 light or a -6 in this case shadow. I just wanted to make sure it was a negative. Anyway, so that's there, and I think I can add an essence to it. I don't know what essence. I feel like I have a bunch. So I think I worked it out last time. Basically, I just need to click on it, like right click, but I can't do it from within the bag. I've got to get it out of the bag. There we go. Again, I was just missing. We'll apply it to there. Why not? Okay, so we need to get all the way through. There's no good way to do it. I don't think I ever found a stable on the other side. But yeah, I've been working on a novel for a little while, and like I always like, you know what? I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna go. It's a little bit of an early night. I'm gonna go read. And I'm like, I'm gonna go read my novel because damn it, it's a long book. And I'm enjoying it, but it's a long book, and you know, when I read like 3 pages a night because I don't have my train ride into the city anymore, it takes forever. And what ends up happening is I've got an RPG rulebook on a lower shelf on the nightstand, and I'm like, maybe I'll just look at that for a minute, and the next thing I know, I look at that until I'm ready to fall asleep, and then I once again have not made progress on my novels. Current nightstand reading is what's this one? Whispers and Signs. What's that? Signal flags. Whatever. Warhammer. 4th edition Warhammer. It came up when Patrick and I were doing a damn fine coffee. We had tier ranked some settings, and he's a huge Warhammer fan. I don't think he's admitted that he never played the game, and he's like, yeah, you know, like, I don't know, what's the rule set? I'm like, dude, it's like a super crunchy D100. He's like, oh shit. So I don't know if he would ever run it, but I think he would definitely be happy to play in it.
Here would be the parade ground of his orcish hordes, and the great forge works for their weapons and armor.
And I'm not opposed to crunchy D100 systems. You know, I like Mithras. I've always been fascinated by Warhammer. I've played... what's it called? Basically, it's Warhammer 4th Ed with Zweihander. I've played that, and there were things about it that I remember not completely mastering. Which makes me want to, like, give Warhammer 4E a try, just to see if I can get a little bit more of a grasp of what's going on and see if it's good or not. But also just... yeah, just I dig darkish fantasy. And, you know, and I asked Matt, like, at one point, like, hey, like, if somebody wanted to run Simbrum, like, would you care? And he was like, no, definitely not. But it's also at some point, like, I don't want to take that away from Matt, because what Matt was doing with it was really interesting. And if he wanted to go back to it, we didn't get super far. So if he wanted to go back and explore it, because we didn't really explore it as thoroughly as we could have, I wouldn't want to redirect it in any way. If he was looking to go, but at the same time, like, he's kind of said, like, you know, he loves Pathfinder, so sometimes I'm just like, it's kind of like, you know, I could run Simbrum, but I could run Pathfinder, so why not just run Pathfinder? Okay, so here we're working with Shadow of 30. So we're back to being in the hole, which means we get some penalties. It's guarded, but when has that ever proved a hindrance to you? Yeah, we're just going to blow through it. Nice. All right. Oh, Gimli. Legolas. Hey, what's up? All right. Oh, Barad-dûr. For some reason I know that. Gimli and I have not ventured over far into these lands. I'm not certain I wish to. Okay. Okay, the causeway forks some distance to the south. One path leads southwards and appears less well kept. The other rises and continues to Barad-dûr. Follow the causeway south to the fork and then beyond to the east. Search for foes or those still held as slaves. Alright, I'll take that.
Hey.
Okay, so they found a captive and he wants me to ask him what's up.
Must I speak with the likes of you?
Doesn't do anything. Intimidate the Black Numenorian. Don't feel good about that. Let's see if he opens up anymore.
Do not
Nothing to say.
regret this.
Gonna intimidate again.
What do you want?
He speaks, his boss will have him killed. He says his name is Lomazar. Wants a servant of Dulgabeth. That's the boss. It's like, hey, if I tell you what I know, will you help me out?
Must I speak with the likes of you?
Alright, so, yeah, it's basically collecting 10 artifacts. I probably...
What do you want? Do not.
Again, I'm just going to take these while I'm out here anyway. I feel like there's some that are already going to start to fall by the wayside from the last area, but that's fine.
We are Gondor's eyes and Gondor's swords in this place.
Okay, so we're gonna see if we can find the guy at his last known location. All good. But where is Dor Amath? Yeah, the guy we're looking to talk to is here. It's, looking for Brungos. There he is. Okay.
Welcome to the Doomfold of Dor Amath.
But even as I bid you this greeting, the words rebel upon my lips. Welcome? Who could be welcome in this place? It is the way of my people to survive in the wilderness, hunting game and foraging for food, even when the land seems barren. Those skills would be well tested in this place. Luckily, it should not be necessary. I've brought supplies enough to last me. And in any event, I would not trust anything that could grow here. Was the valley once fertile? I cannot imagine it, but mortal eyes are oft quick to judge, given how little we see with a great span of time. Before Sauron came, was this land green and growing? Brungos dismisses the thought with a shrug. Mayhap I'll consider further when we are safely away from here. For now, the land is dead and full of enemies, and we should ask pointed questions with dagger and blade, and set aside any questions that do not fell our foes. Alright, next objective is to defeat 12 enemies. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend to look at the map like, oh, let's see where we're going, and that's actually going to be my cutting point. But yeah, let's just see, because I'm going to go read some Warhammer. And then regret not reading my novel. But yeah, let's check where we're going. Okay, so we are Wink heading... Where are we heading? Lands of Doom. I think it's just killing 12 things. Some of the things have us going, as you can see from the map, pretty deep into the area here. But let's just... We got to kill 12 things here, and let's just see what's going on here at the... Okay, Land of Ash and Shadow. Scout the causeway. Okay, so we're just gonna... Yeah, let's just start killing stuff. That's gonna take care of the 12 things that we gotta do, I think. Let's make sure, yeah. Defeat enemies of Dor Amarth. And I don't think it's too picky. I think we can kind of kill anything. So if I'm looking at the map right, that's Mount Doom right there. Oh. Getting some input lag there. Oh wow, this is really okay. Kind of curious where that pathway goes. Those, so I started, you know, I said I was going to go read some Warhammer last night. So, I think it's the first module in like a big time. These count? Like the one of their big campaigns. I think it's called Enemy Within. So I'm kind of curious. Like I started reading through it. It seems like it could have potential. But I can't tell. Like, I'm very curious to see where, like, the whole chain goes. Not that I'm going to read the whole thing, but, signature. I can make this a little easier. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, what I'm looking forward to it is because it says, like, in the beginning, like, part of its intention is to sort of show you, like, hey, these are, like, the typical things you encounter in, like, a Warhammer, and it's kind of typical for, like, fantasy as a whole, but just to see how it's like, hey, like, this is, you know, what inns are like on, you know, the rural roads and the dark dangers that you'll encounter, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's sort of like a... Interestingly, even though it's, like, a mega grand campaign, like, the first book really does talk about, like, hey, we're just here to ease you into the setting a little bit, which I appreciate. But I can't tell if it opens up with like a coincidence a little bit too big to swallow. If that makes any sense. Ooh, that thing's not messing around. Okay. So because I think I skimmed the early parts of it before a little bit, and so I was sort of, you know, it was late last night, I was, you know, half falling asleep, so I didn't get as far as I thought I was going to get, but I am curious to see if it's the opening that I remember, and if it is, then I think it's something I might need to tweak. Because if it is, it basically, it relies on a coincidence that I have trouble believing, and on some level it might be like, who cares, it's just an excuse to kick the adventure off, but I feel like it, I don't know, I feel like it matters. I feel like it should matter. Like in Season of Ghosts, you know, in Pathfinder, the thing that we've been, you know, playing, Matt's been running it. You know, the sort of quote-unquote inciting incident is that they have a sort of an annual tradition And part of the annual tradition is that a couple of people from town are quote-unquote fake kidnapped. And they get to spend the night in the woods, and it's just like, you know, again, superstitions and blah, 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 but really it's mostly just like a harmless, fun kind of annual tradition. And at the end of it, to thank you for being like a willing participant and getting quote-unquote kidnapped, they bring you breakfast, and, you know, it's sort of like just kind of like a nice thing. And of course things go horribly wrong. But that is, in my mind, like, you know, the PCs are people that were chosen for this endeavor. But I think part of what makes it smart is that they're like, yeah, and just pick why. You know, just, you know, there's different reasons you can choose from, but just come up with a reason why. And, you know, you know, yeah, are we working with the adventure writers, with the GM, in order to kick things off in like a acceptable or believable way? Yeah, of course. And that's no big deal at all. But, you know, in that case, it's sort of like, it asks us to like, hey, you know, describe how you bought your ticket on the railroad, right? Like, maybe it's a little bit of a railroad opening, but that's okay. You know, just everybody's willing to give you, you know, extend that little bit of grace to get things going. But you can't take it for granted. You can't ask too much. And I think I'll just, you know, again, I'll just say it's literally the inciting incident for the very first part of the very first adventure of this whole thing. So it's not like a huge spoiler. But the idea is that somebody in the party looks like somebody who died in a wagon raid. And the person who died was, you know, some high up whatever, and, you know, people were after him, you know. And now they're after you, because I think that's the opening. And to me, that's not great. You know, with the, you know, sort of with the updates recently to Starfield from Bethesda, that's getting a lot of chatter again. And, you know, it makes people revisit it, and it just, you know, reminds you like, hey, what's the opening of that? Like, well, you're working like as a grunt in a mine. And then something happens, and all of a sudden somebody's giving you a ship fully loaded, ready to go, because you've had the vision and you're the one, and it's just like, oh my god, like I've basically been in the game for like 3.5 minutes. This isn't working. It's too much. I'm not buying it. And so a lot of people have been discussing like, well, what could they have done differently with the opening?
Can it be that this land was once much like any other?
And the answer is a lot of things, but that particular opening, it's just too much. Get on the railroad. It's not. It's almost like it doesn't care if we believe it or not. Just accept it for what it is, the starting point, and don't pay. You know, just go with it. And I don't think that's fair to ask a player if they're about to embark on like a 100-hour story. But maybe I'm overdoing it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too anal about it. But that's how I approach it. And I think I intend to give Starfield another shot. I think I'm gonna get jammed up again. As much as I want to really dive into it. Let's see. I face many foes here myself, but still my mind worries at the subject about which we spoke. Can it be that this land was once much the same as any other, but the coming of Sauron laid waste to it? There are countless reasons to rejoice that he's gone, but even for one among many, it must approach the top of the list. If he could do this to Mordor, could he not have worked such a change upon Gondor, or upon Rohan, or upon Eriador? I deem that he could. Further, I contend that the transformation of Dor Amarth to this blasted plain was not accidental. I believe he did it purposefully, with malicious intent, if not for some scheme, then merely for the hateful joy of it. I spoke about this with Covadil, who dared the passage of Eisenmouth with me. I think it was she who first planted these thoughts in my mind, and now I cannot stop thinking on them. She intended to travel northeast to Lughash. I warned her to be careful, but she found that mirthful and laughed at my warning. She's a scholar and a bit odd, but I do hope she's being careful all the same. Perhaps you could find her and see how she fares. Anyway, so yeah, it was just, you know, got me thinking one thing after the other. Where are we going? Okay. So yeah, let's scout this intersection, then we gotta hang a left and end up here. Yeah, let's go see what's up. You know, yeah, with Starfield, I don't know if somebody suggests this, and like, because again, like everybody puts their thinking caps on, you know, I do it all the time, like the idea of like backseat or Monday morning quarterbacking, the story. But I remember, I thought somebody just said like, yeah, just start with you already on a ship. You know, you don't have to make it on a mine and then literally, you know, just, you know, figure something out so you already own the ship. Figure something out so it's, I don't know. Okay, you notice what appears to be a dwarf and a goat lying still beside the causeway. The dwarf lies slain in the armor of finer make than of other orcs. Wrought of dark steel, the shield remains unblemished despite the fate of its wielder. Far from wild, the goat is saddled and laden with various trinkets and supplies. And yeah, I mean, again, like if assuming somebody suggested that, I thought it was a pretty good suggestion because then, you know, and also it's much like I was saying with like the story of Skyrim. There are aspects to it like I think would have been far more interesting if there weren't the dragons and I wasn't the Dragonborn and I wasn't the Chosen One and I wasn't the Messiah and I wasn't special. Negotiating the conflict between, you know, the Imperial Legion and I forget the name of the local force, but you know what I mean. And I feel like, you know, there's an artifact, you know, on board my ship. You know, if you're going to have to make me encounter and have a vision, like, you know, it's almost like the opening to Firefly, right? Like, yeah, we're going to transport a crate. And then finally enough trouble stems from it that you're like, screw this, we're going to kick it open. And you realize, oh, it's summer. You know, you could have something like that. I feel like that could be, I found that far more of a smooth, believable intro than, you know, Starfield's obviously trying to get it up and running quickly, but it's just, clumsy. It feels mean to say clumsy, but what happens if we get close to this thing? Anyway. The last reserves, okay. Can't talk to them. Maybe they, you know, wondering about this light thing. Maybe they're like, you know, we're not going to do morale because, in theory, your morale should just spike and you should cringe in fear. I don't know. Maybe that's part of the rationale, or maybe I'm extending them that rationale just to help myself. This is really spectacle. This is really well done. Okay, how would I know what that wraith seeks? Okay, I saw the wraith. She went toward the north. Don't kill me. Look around for signs of Crassa Fursa at her last known location. Okay. You found Covadil staring at the spire of Lukash.
Will you look at that? That is the spire of Lurash.
Well, you look at that. Fortress was built there upon the lowest slopes of arid Lithui, when Gondor established its watch upon Mordor. It was called the Peacehold of Sidhost, and nothing moved on Orodruin without alerting the attention of its defenders. But the vigilance of Gondor failed in time, and it was abandoned. The orcs burrowed beneath the foundation, and the earth shook, and Sidhost crumbled into ruin. The spire of Lukash arose in its place. That is right there. If it weren't for the scholarly pursuit of knowledge, you would think that it was merely an evil tower, but now you know some of its history. Isn't that fascinating? But there was once a Gondorian fortress there, and I wonder if it might still be signs of it. You should do what we scholars at the House of Lore often do when we want to unearth lost knowledge. We dig about in the debris. You never know what you might find. Search the old ash piles all around the spire and see if you can find some remnant of the Gondorian presence here, for knowledge and for knowing. Oh, another... okay.
Turun and Harad Sauron roamed, gifting 6 of the 9 rings to kings and chieftains, yoking peoples and armies under his command. 7 to dwarf lords in their hidden halls.
I say, you know, it's Firefly and you kick open a thing and it's Summer Glau. I'm trying to remember River. It's River. It was Summer Glau in the box playing River. Okay, I need to get to the other side of the tower. So I feel like I'm getting far away. Yeah, I was going to say, I just don't think there's a path through. So I'm going to cut around this hill to the right and hope there's a cut through the slope getting back toward the tower, because I'm not sure. Oh, shoot. Ooh, that was luck. You know, but some of what I was saying about Starfield, about this and that, it all ends up sort of being the same thing, you know, because one of the things we talked about Call of Cthulhu, one of the tricks we have is like, why is our character running into the face of danger? Like the cosmic evil level of danger. And it can't just be because that's the game, you know. If we're role-playing a character, we have to, and it's, you know, the thing that we've sort of talked about before, where we never quite felt like Cthulhu helped us get there. Not the game has to get there, and you know, maybe it's just us being a little too precious, but you know, it was something that yeah, I think we were talking about like when we were like doing Scritch Scratch. I think Matt, you know, was like, I just couldn't figure out why my character was doing anything. And I know that I specifically trying to think of a reason to give my character so that he or she will, despite the logic, you know, will ignore self-preservation to some degree. And usually for me, the easiest way to do that is to to think of a character that is compensating for a clear shortcoming. You know, cowardice, or in Scritch Scratch, it was like desperately crushing on, you know, a girl out of his league. You know, it's simple and dumb, but just some reason why, like, when push comes to shove, you're gonna do the thing that might not make the most sense as a normal human being, but makes sense in context of the story, of the game, and as a person, you know, like as a character, like people do stupid things all the time. And usually they have to justify it to themselves. You know, they have to get themselves to do it. Because, you know, deep down they know, like, this is not the smart move. Or maybe, you know, maybe nobody cares. I mean, again, like, the party meets at the inn is a pretty classic opening.
Digging in the debris is never a waste. Not for a
I think we're gonna have a fight. Hold on. You're getting a little idea of the, maybe, I don't know, the lag. You know, obviously I didn't sit there for 5 seconds not entering a gambit.
Digging in the debris is never a waste. Not for a scholar of history.
This broken piece of metal is unremarkable, save for the marking right here. Do you see it? That is half of a sigil of Gondor. Nay, not even a half. Maybe more a small portion of a small portion, but even a portion's portion is a delight to one who thirsts for knowledge. This tiny remnant of history has emerged from the ash, a reminder to us that Gondor's resilience. My master will surely find value in this discovery, even if I was not supposed to adventure here. The House of Lore will benefit from this, I do not doubt it. This is much more interesting than anything I might have found in Osgiliath, so close to Minas Tirith. This is a land of danger, an unknown land, and the rewards are greater to match.
Hold on. Do you hear that?
There are people approaching from down the road, and they sound as if they're in a tremendous hurry. Talk to Thorville and talk to Farank. So I think I was seeing, you know, when I was sort of getting an idea of, you know, what lies ahead. I think there's a chance that the Black Book of Mordor might take me into the ballpark of level 130. Another, like, 22 levels. Ours was a small company of soldiers aiming to plunder the ruins of Barad-dûr for treasure, and each man was to have a share of the loot, but one of our number turned on us, he did, and thought to slay us. I don't know why he attacked us, wanted our shares of the treasure most like, but I can't see as why Rogrin would strike out at his fellows like that. Never known him for a turncoat, not until today.
There is something terrible about the wreckage of Sauron's tower.
The ruins of Barad-dûr. Enormous pieces of it fell to the ground when the Dark Lord was destroyed, and the land all around is an unpleasant air. But I never thought it could work such a change on one of my fellows. Rorgrin was just as he always was on the journey out, but when we approached the terrible pit, that great abyss, Farank falls silent. That abyss was the site of Barad-dûr, when still it stood. Something about it infused Rogrin with a type of madness. And he attacked us. We, his faithful friends, as if years of service and kinship meant nothing. Okay, so I guess we go back to Covadil. Oh, right there. Okay.
I spoke with Hrogrin at the Black Gate. He seemed like a nice enough sort.
He did not seem the type to attack his friends for treasure or for no. I think Farank is right. The abyss where Barad-dûr once stood is still surrounded by corruption, and it drove Hrogrin to madness. You have to find him before he harms any others or himself, but do not kill him. Remember the lesson of the metal scrap from the ash pile. Even good things once buried can be unearthed again. Find Hrogrin up by the abyss and knock some sense back into him, but kill him not, for that is not easily undone. This must be the location the orc last saw Krasa Fursa, which is... You do not see the wraith, but notice some nearby uruks to the southeast. Okay. Looks like she's still looking for something, you filth. This is really bad input lag. Okay. Shield. Spear. Okay, yeah, it's at least a second behind. Alright, well. Oops. I stood here too long. Okay, she went up the hills, the ones with the towers, no one goes there. Okay. Okay, let's hit the road, keep heading east. So you see, like, it is getting worse. Like, it used to be -10 with who knows incoming damage, but... Okay, there you go. Yeah, choosing -10 plus 20.9, but yeah. So, you know, it is getting harder as we go deeper. Can I cross? Okay. Okay, so we're in this area. We're supposed to, like, search for rubble. I have to search for 10 rubble and then do 3 other things. I'm not quite sure what the other 3 things are. But, okay, so I've got too many quests, so I gotta open up my book here. Let's, Central Gondor. Let's cancel that. Crafting. I feel like I should keep that because I should do it at some point. Let's cancel that. I can hand that in though, but oh well. Festival. Let's cancel that. Can I cancel that? Let's cancel that. Cancel that. Cancel that. It's a sort of repeatable daily blah blah blah. Complete tasks in Middle Earth. Don't care. I guess we have that ready to go, so I feel badly canceling it, but cancel that. Cancel that. Cancel that. Yeah, I guess let's cancel that. Let's cancel that. I don't even remember getting some of these, to be honest with you. Let's pull that off the list just because it's done. I feel a little bad about these because again, I don't know why I can't cancel that. Oof, look at this. Yeah, let's get rid of these. It's what's painful about it is it's just sort of the what could have been. Like, this is a whole potential series of like area quests that could have culminated in something that I'm never going to potentially find out. Again, as Gilead, that breaks my heart a little bit because that was really, really cool. Oh well. Yeah, again, there's a part of me that's like, if I were ever gonna like run a new character, I would just almost want to skip the main quest and just spend all the time running around doing whatever. Which is, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what people do. Maybe that's why people like, you know, take on the things that slow down leveling or turn it off or whatever. Anyway. I think I'm gonna have to kill these two guys again because I'm going to need to burn that tent down. I'm just taking those because I just want to get that thing off my screen. I feel like I'm heading in the wrong direction, and I also feel like this search the rubble thing, I think, is going to be... Because I'm not finding an artifact every single time, so that always is like, whatever. Like, that feels like then I'm just sort of getting jerked around a little bit. So let's get back on the main path. Let's, what's this white one? Yeah, it's basically just killing orcs. So we'll keep an eye out for orcs. We'll keep an eye out for tents. But I think I'm going to skip the rubble. You know, I was just thinking like, oh, this was a good weekend for recording. You know, I got a chunk of stuff done for the channel. I think I need to balance my time out better. That's why, like, sometimes I'm like, you know, when I'm sitting there thinking like, you know, Lord of the Rings takes, you know, got a lot of other hobbies I'd like to pursue, and I think I need to start start balancing that out better. It's easy not to at the moment because there's so much going on with my wife's family and stuff that, you know, it just, but I should be, you know, if I'm gonna get this time on my own, like, I have dorky things I can do that don't involve this channel. It's been a weird couple of years, you know, things on a personal front and things on an employment front, and, you know, I just, sometimes I'm just like, feels a little bit like it's spinning out of control, and it's just like, you know, maybe it's time to, you know, I'm not a young man, like start spreading it out a little bit, you know, it doesn't have to be just, I tend to do that, though. I tend to get very much like, this is the thing that I'm doing, and I, you know, and with this channel, it's a lot of fun, but it's also something that doesn't have like a fixed goal. You know, it's, you know, it was started, you know, we should do RPG stuff, and then I was like, yeah, you know, but I've also, but to me, you know, as I said, like, RPGs and CRPGs are almost the same thing at some times, you know, like, the way I think about one is the way I think about the other, and so I feel like my part of the conversation, you know, on a personal level, involves both. You know, like just listen to go listen to me ramble about Darklands. You know, it's like, now Lord of the Rings Online hasn't been the same thing as like a CRPG kind of front. It's just been such a, I mean, it's technically an RPG, but it's just been such a part of my computer gaming. And it's made me reconsider, you know, it sort of reinforced, you know, what the movies brought to the table. More so, again, than the books. I've talked about that. But, you know, and that's, you know, got me wanting to enjoy... Well, Lord of the Rings Online comes from... You know, as a kid growing up, you know, my mom reading me The Hobbit and getting Middle-earth role-playing because we weren't allowed to play D&D. And then that goes into, you know, finally getting through the entire trilogy and The Hobbit as an adult right before the movies come out, and then seeing the movies, and then, you know, the One Ring second edition comes out, you know, and it's all sort of, it all kind of ties back to Middle-earth role-playing MERP. So in that sense, you know, like, there is something to Lord of the Rings Online and as a CRPG and the whole thing. Like 250 grand, that's not bad. It's all arbitrary, it doesn't mean anything, but basically got 2 more tents. I think there's 2 here. So this will finish this up. Basically, I feel like I get it in my head like that I have to do something, and I sort of then have to give myself permission to not do it. I have to sort of Marie Kondo it, like thank it for its service and sort of release it into the ether. And it can be tough to do that when I know, technically speaking, there is an end site with something like Lord of the Rings Online, right? In theory, you know, the post-book quests that take you up to 160. Watcher of Roads, that's the one I've currently got, but what is known in the Conquest of Gorgoroth? Okay, that's Watcher of Roads sounds cooler in my mind. I think I overshot. I think I need to be either. Is that down below? Oh, wrong button as I have my fingers misaligned and head right off the ledge. Rogren stands on the road to the Great Abyss unaware of your presence. Oh. Okay, let's continue this quest now. I'm hoping I don't actually have to duel to the death here. They told me not to do that, but again, tons of input lag. I'm not goading him. There's shields that weren't getting registered. Okay, he shakes his head and seems to see you for the first time.
What am I doing?
What are you doing out here? Point of fact, what am I doing out here? Last I remember standing on the road somewhere near Lukash, but that is many miles away, is it not? I remember the color drains from his face. My friends. I think I attacked them. I didn't mean to do it, but there was such an overwhelming feeling of I do not know how to describe it. My will was overmastered. Did I think I had the strength of Gondor? I was driven to madness like a common orc, set upon my fellows. I am shamed. I did not understand the potency of Sauron's evil. Even after his fall, the lands that he touched remained marred by the memory of him. I must find my friends and apologize. I hope they will understand that I was not myself. I have to leave this place. I'm not equal to it. And again, it goes back to the idea, like Sauron was this immense presence of evil, and, it impacted the environment. It impacted the world, and so there's remnants of it. And it's something I've talked about, like what I like about Middle-earth. There's a connection between the world itself and the forces in it. just curious what this is. I can bang it out, so just one day. Now I have, let me just, while I have some here, let's just, see what I can do with them. I was gonna say, there's Gimli, so where's Legolas? Ooh, Vault Keeper. Let's,
Greetings, traveler.
I was hoping that helmet was going to be here. Let me see if I can find Legolas. Yeah, I don't... I mean, he should be right here, I think. I remember him being right here, and I don't know why I'm having such trouble handing it in. I don't see... Is there other shared storage, maybe?
May your heart be light and your joys be many.
Again, I'm just looking for that stupid helmet. And I don't see it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the 3 peak stuff. I'm going to just put it back. I'm just going to keep it on me. What's the... Yeah, again, I don't understand why I can't get this hat to work. You know what, let's, whoop, shit. I mean, that's not a bad outfit either. I just don't understand, like this one I'm not crazy about. So can we... Okay, go back to cosmetic. What is it, this one? Alright, did I kind of do it at least? Okay, so it's the hooded cloak of the Black Gate. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's, let me go back to my... At least I'm a little closer. Let's go back to the cosmetic outfits. Outfit 4. Where are the following outfit? Outfit 4. That's... Okay, that's at least better. Okay. I know it's dumb, but half of this is fashion souls, so... Oh, shit, he's up there on the rock. Okay. All right, that's on me. All right.
I look out upon this land and feel a deep sorrow.
Okay, so we did that. Let's see what other quests we have that we can turn in. No. Introduction Eastern Gondor, but it's not letting us just jump to it. So let's deselect that. Let's see if it'll let me... Land of Ash and Shadow. Let's jump to that. I mean, we might as well get them off the books and get some credit for it, right? Oh, that's part... Okay, that was... Yeah, okay. What else we got going on? We got that. Again, I don't know why I can't cancel some of these. Okay, that's not letting me just hand it in. Now this is deliver the embers are, I thought, here.
Dark skies, dark tidings.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Okay, that's a constant redo.
You saved Rogreen from himself? I am so glad.
And your story confirms to me something I had suspected. Sauron instructed his servants to build him a kingly castle, a stronghold on a hill that was called Amandur. Over the long passage of years, his servants expanded the castle to cover all of the hill, and it grew with new construction until it towered into the air. It became Barad-dûr, the Dark Tower, and reached so high that only Sauron's magic could keep it aloft. But the tower did not only reach skyward. Beneath Barad-dûr, the orcs delivered fathomless dungeons for their master until Ered Luthwi was riddled with pits and chasms. When the tower fell, the land gave way and a great abyss opened where Barad-dûr once stood. Sauron's dungeons were exposed to the sky, the abyss of Mordath. Covadil shivers. Knowledge can be frightening. Anyway, Sauron might be gone, but he dwelt at Barad-dûr for so long that the land has not forgotten him. It sounds to me as if he left his impression on the abyss and the lands around it. You should find Mithrandir and tell him this, and I think it's time I return to the House of Lore. I'm not afraid of danger, in moderation, but this is more than moderately terrifying. Okay. Mithrandir at the Black Gate. I think that was like one area back. That's why I kind of jumped to it.
Something has happened. A messenger has come.
The tidings you bring of Barad-dûr do not surprise me, but they will need to await proper consideration. Something has happened. A messenger has come.
He wishes to speak to the King of Gondor. I do not think that is wise.
He has come to the Black Gate under a flag of peace, and he desires to speak to the King of Gondor. I do not think that's wise. I ask you to speak with this emissary on Aragorn's behalf. Remember that he is not to be harmed, and it would be imprudent to be rude. But learn what he wants and then present his requests to Aragorn.
I bring a message from Dulgabeth, the Black Word of Mordor and heir of Sauron.
I'm Yadafal, and I bring a message from Dulgabeth, the Black Word of Mordor and heir of Sauron. I was commanded to bring my message directly to the King of Gondor. Yadafal's face twists with hatred, but it soon gives way to doubt. I will not return with my task uncompleted. The message is this. Dulgabeth, once mouth of Sauron, but now Sauron's heir, requests an audience with the king or steward of Gondor. I am to bring him to the bones of Barad-dûr, where Dulgabeth will meet with him and propose terms of peace. Deliver him this message, and I will bring him to Dulgabeth. Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
I do not trust this emissary or Dulgabeth, his master.
But I do wish to hear the terms that he would propose. I suspect they will be no more acceptable than the last, though these come not from Sauron, but from a servant made bold by the absence of his former lord. I can trust only you with this responsibility. Will you treat with Dulgabeth on my behalf? Tell the emissary you speak with my voice and my authority.
You speak with the king's voice. You then I will bring.
Is the king of Gondor so cowardly that he dares not stand before Dulgabeth in all his majesty? He sends others where he's too frightened to go? This does not surprise me. You then, I'll bring. We go to Barad-dûr, where my master waits.
Remain on your guard, my friend. You speak with my voice. You should be free of harm. But this embassy will not be without danger.
Alright, apologies, I had to pop a Ricola. My voice is going a little bit faster than I thought. Follow me, emissary of Gondor. You have a messenger's protection for now, but if you stray too far, it will go badly for you. Did you think this tower was gone? Much of it fell when the Dark Lord was betrayed, but its bones still stand. Who but my master has the most right to Barad-dûr's secrets? Ooh. Behold, Dulgabeth, the Black Word, Sauron's heir and Lord of Mordor. We meet again, King of Gondor. What is this? Who art thou? I care not for thy names or thy titles. Thou art not the King of Gondor. Has Yadafal failed in this simple duty, or has the king proven craven? Dulgabeth sneers. So, thou art the mouth of Gondor. The king fears to approach me and sends his servant instead. Thou claimest to speak with his voice? Pah, I hear the cowardice in it. Listen then, mouth of Gondor, to my offer of peace. Lord Sauron ruled through domination and sought conquest of all. The designs of Sauron's heir are not so wide. I desire only Mordor. I will rule Mordor as sovereign. King of Gondor will recognize my rule of this land. In all things save the ordering of Mordor, I will be subservient to the wishes of thy king. This offer has a price, a small cost for what thy king will gain. There are one or two small matters that must be resolved. The king of Gondor must help me put down these challenges to my rule. Others of the Gurtseal are active in Mordor and must be slain. They cannot retain the artifacts and sorceries they stole from the Dark Lord. There's another matter. The one who calls himself the captain of the pit, Ugrithor, has dispatched forces to Cirith Ungol. This tower is near to Gondor, and Ugrithor poses a threat to thy kingdom. I want Gondor to destroy this detachment and Ugrithor who commands it. If Gondor aids me in these matters, I will gladly rule Mordor in thy king's name. Let there be peace between thy kingdom and mine. You know that Aragorn will never accept this offer. I have given thee my offer, Mouth of Gondor. Now it is thy duty to present it to thy king. May he accept it with haste. He would be a fool to do otherwise. You'll return with me to the Black Gate, and you will relay my master's offer to the king of Gondor. I will then return with his acceptance. This could have been resolved more easily were your king not so craven.
What did the mouth of Sauron propose this time?
I doubt the terms of his peace are any more acceptable than they were before the downfall of Sauron. You describe Dulgabeth's offer of peace, and Aragorn maintains a solemn expression while he listens to your account. When you have finished, a slight smile lightens his features. You would not think he was on the losing side of the conflict with these terms, would you? His master lost the war, and all we have to do is wrap up Sauron's land with a festive bow and gift it to his former servant? Actually, there's more than that. The Mouth also wants us to help him put down several challengers to his rule. Have any won sovereignty with less effort than this? I reject his terms as you knew I would. I will not elevate any of Sauron's servants, whether they swear allegiance to my rule or not. Dulgabeth and the others like him were evil under Sauron, and they're evil now. Tell the emissary I am not interested in this offer, and return to me when he is gone.
So the King of Gondor is not only a coward, he is a fool as well.
He has placed his own seal on the order of his death. It is no matter to me. Dulgabeth will remember this when he has conquered all of Mordor and comes to Gondor to finish what Sauron had begun.
Dulgabeth has given us a weapon to use against him.
That offer of peace may have been unacceptable. Dulgabeth has revealed the matters about which he is concerned, and by so doing, he's given us a valuable weapon to use against him. The weapon is information.
I believe you learned 2 useful pieces of information from Dulgabeth.
Okay, so there we go. That's the end of Chapter 2. I believe you learned 2 useful pieces of information from Dulgabeth. The first is this. The forces of Mordor are not unified, and they might be turned against one another. Indeed, they may already be doing so on their own without our assistance. He seems most concerned about his rival, who sent forces to reinforce Cirith Ungol. This rival is one he called Ugrithor, the captain of the pit, and I have heard tell of him before. He is cruel and without mercy, and it was he who promised the Thandrim of Durthan peace and gave them slaughter instead. The second piece of information Dulgabeth unwittingly gave to us might not be immediately useful, but I still want to learn what it signifies. He spoke of Gurtseal, and the name makes me uneasy for its evocation of the Nazgul. The 9 are slain, destroyed alongside Sauron, and few could rival them in malice or power, but we should tread carefully near any reminder of them. I understand that Eorzen the Wily refused my offer of a place in Gondor and has been haunting the pass of Cirith Gorgor just inside the Black Gate. See what he makes of the information we have learned, and follow that knowledge where it leads. All right, so that's the beginning of chapter 3. Man, you know, I think we're gonna call this session here. I think I'm not gonna make any official decisions yet, but I think my time with Lord of the Rings Online, I might be thinking it's time to go back to being like a civilian, so to speak. You know, I got through the book quests. I just, there's a lot I want to play, and there's just a lot to this. And again, I really, for me, the real important thing was I wanted to see the book quest till the end, and I think they did a great job. I'm going to keep going for a little while longer at least, and maybe I'll get reinvigorated. We'll see how chapter 3 goes, but, and it's not that I'll never do it, it's just that I don't know how much more I want this sort of completely made up pressure to stream it, to record it, to talk through every moment of it. Because, I mean, there's a lot of places I still want to see, but yeah, we'll have to see. But there's a lot of other things I want to try and cover, so to speak, and other things I want to do. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, like I said, I'll come back for chapter 3, see how it goes, and maybe like a spark will come back, or, you know, I've got enough of a backlog that I could take a break, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway. So yeah, this has been Black Lodge Trivia Night doing the story in Lord of the Rings Online. If you're watching this, you found our YouTube channel. Thank you for checking this out. Like and subscribe if this is your thing. We're mainly a tabletop RPG actual play podcast. We've got a bunch of different systems up on the channel. If you prefer audio versions of that, just search for Black Lodge Trivia Night wherever you get your podcasts. Sorry, my throat's really going. Wherever you get your podcasts, and we should show up. But otherwise, if you want, jump into our Discord if you feel like chatting about stuff like this. And regardless, we hope you're doing well. Take care. Bye-bye.